Okay, I'm live. Welcome to another podcast of the current situation at Manchester United. It's rare for me to do three videos in a row, because as you guys would realize, I did a video on I think Tuesday, which was a preview for the last second leg against Manchester United, and I did the match reaction yesterday. So that is two, and now I'm doing a third video, which is really rare for me. But I guess it's one of those anomaly videos I'm going to just do. But this is based on Manchester United came out today that hold on, that Alexis Sanchez has officially left Manchester United, and I just want to give my spin on that transfer. Hold on. Alexis Sanchez, when he was linked to Manchester, no, this is the funny thing. Alexis Sanchez wasn't primarily linked with Manchester United. As you can tell, at the time, Manchester United was in pursuit of Alexis Sanchez when Alexis Sanchez was mainly linked to Manchester City. In January of 2018, quote me on it, Manchester City was linked to Alexis Sanchez. Alexis Sanchez was linked to Mkhitaryan, which I find very interesting, and they were linked to Fred and Jorginho. So Manchester City wanted players for the upcoming season, although they were just in the middle of the season. But Alexis Sanchez said that he was going to leave Arsenal in 2007, in fall of 2017, and yeah, clubs came out of the woodworks just trying to dish out money for Alexis Sanchez. We want Alexis, we want it, we want it. And in the end, not too going along eulogy, Alexis Sanchez chose Manchester United. You know, Jesse Lingard with the pose on the phone and say, "Hey, Alexis, welcome to Manchester United, brother." You know what I mean? You go enjoy yourself at Manchester United in number seven. You go score goals, you go assist goals. You know, one of them, you go play games, a lot of games, and you're going to be our best player. I can't wait for you to come, bro. And yeah, so the build up and the tenacity and the intensity of the signing of Alexis Sanchez was most Manchester United's, particularly the Milan and Manchester United supporters, were really, they just want, because you have to understand that Alexis Sanchez at the time was a great signing. Not a great signing, a great player, and was one of the best players, not for only Arsenal, but in the world. Alex Sanchez was one of the best wide men. Arguably, that was Alexis Sanchez's best season at Arsenal. The second to last season. No, I would say his last full season for Arsenal before he came to Manchester United in January of 2018. So when he came to Manchester United, a lot of us were just saying to Arsenal fans, "Yeah, we got your best player, man. We got your best player. What you go say about that? We took Van Persie from you. Manchester City took Nasri from you. Manchester City took Clichy from you. Well, Clichy wasn't really a good player, but they took him regardless. You know what I mean? Fabregas went to Barcelona, dumped their ass. Thierry went to Barcelona, and now we have Alexis Sanchez. So that you going to see no Arsenal fans. We take your best player, bitch. um. So yeah, I mean, a lot of persons were browbeating AFTV, Arsenal fan TV, and other Arsenal supporters. Well, yeah. So my thing is this: the expectations of Alexis Sanchez at Arsenal, at Manchester United, I should say, was very high. Firstly, we didn't really sign him based on a transfer fee. We didn't sign him on a transfer fee. Alexis Sanchez got himself at Manchester United based on wages. His wages, I don't know the currency because I'm not a businessman or anything, but his wages was like 500,000 per week. And to get 500,000 per week, no. If someone got 500,000 in a year, that's quite a lot of money. But to get 500,000 in a 1 week, no, this is two. In 1 week, that means nigga, you need to be scoring like 2 goals every 3 matches, performing well in every game. Maybe that was part of the contract. And of course, well, these players don't play for the clubs that they were switched up for. Mkhitaryan had to leave Manchester United because Mkhitaryan was crap. So he went to Arsenal, and then Alexis Sanchez from Arsenal came to Manchester United. So there was an exchange of players between Arsenal and Manchester United. Alexis Sanchez came with expectations of rising up the dead that literally wore the number 7 since Cristiano Ronaldo left Manchester United in 2009. Because every player ever since Ronaldo's departure in 2009 was not of the same stature or caliber of player as Ronaldo. Players tried, a lot of players tried. Valencia, Michael Owen, Di Maria, Memphis Depay, and Sanchez. So I said, okay, Sanchez is going to uplift that ghost that has been wearing the number 7 for almost a decade. So we're going to Alexis Sanchez is going to kill the ghost, and he's going to uprise the number 7 into a more light. You know what I'm saying? He's going to give more inspiration, motivation, and a positive light to the number 7. So that is the expectations we Manchester United supporters had. When he came to Manchester United, he made his debut, I believe, against in the FA Cup first round, I believe. In the FA Cup, yeah, it was an away game, and Alexis Sanchez played wide in the number 7, long sleeve. Uh, he played decent. He played all right. He played all right. You know, decent touches. You know what I'm saying? Beat a couple players, cut inside, which was his main bread and butter, because that is Alexis Sanchez' main MO. When Alexis Sanchez is not one to run the wings. He's not one to stretch the players on the wing like a Daniel James. He literally would cut in and beat the player and look for a crossing, like he would chip the ball in the box to the striker, or if he wanted to be more perky or unpredictable, he'd cut in and then just go back to the byline and cut in back and cross in the ball. So that is Alexis Sanchez's main MO, his claim of fame in terms of style, his style of play. Now, the thing is that Alexis Sanchez was not a young player. Alexis Sanchez was like 28, if not 29. So the thing you have to understand was that this guy was in his prime. So this guy had no room for error in terms of playing for Manchester United. Mean he needed to get good performance like that, like that, like that, like that, like that. So we needed to play this guy almost every game in the Premier League to get top 3 position to challenge Manchester City, which was kind of out of our reach because we lost to Manchester City in December at Old Trafford, which would stretch the gap to at least 19 points or something like that. So even the sign of Alexis Sanchez, the likelihood of the gap being decreased was very low. You know, although City was just a different animal that season, and why they we could see why they wanted to sign Alexis Sanchez because they wanted to add on to that fueling fire with having Alexis Sanchez up top with Sané, Aguero, Sterling, and with the number 10 of Kevin De Bruyne. Here's some front four, right? Um, but Alexis Sanchez at Manchester United, we had a lot of hope for Alexis Sanchez. I remember when he scored his first goal for Manchester United, and it actually took a while. I think it was against Huddersfield at home, or um, it actually took a while for him to get a goal because people were really stuck on Alexis Sanchez, and even persons that were known as haters, harsh critics of Alexis Sanchez, were saying to Alexis Sanchez, if he doesn't start putting in performance, like I just mentioned, he's like 28 or 29 at the time. So if this guy didn't put in performances, he was going to get browbeat on his back with criticism, whether it was constructive, destructive, or subjective, if not objective criticism. So this guy needed to put in performances pronto, ASAP. So a lot of persons were saying, okay, Sanchez just came into Manchester United, so he's not just going to lay his bid and say, okay, he's going to settle down in the first week. He needs weeks to settle down in the side. And you have to understand that this guy was playing for Jose Mourinho. So this is not a guy that's going to like clock 3 assists in one game, 4 goals in one game. You know what I'm saying? He has to play more of a pragmatic role in the squad. Alexis Sanchez, you have to understand that Alexis Sanchez has a style of play that is very dynamic. Can play in different roles in the front four, play in midfield to a small degree, and he can drop back, meaning that he has high defensive work rate. You have two work rates in football. You have high defensive work rate and you have high attacking work rate. A lot of attackers these days only have high attacking work rate because they're attackers, right? But there are some attackers that just have a knack for playing football and they have the hybrid of attacking, how should I say now? Attacking work rate with defensive. Like for example, Luis Suarez. And maybe this is just a South American thing. I don't know. I have to do the research myself. But Luis Suarez, Carlitos Tevez, I call him Carlitos Tevez because you know what I mean. But Carlos Tevez, Alexis Sanchez, and a few other South American players. So those players obviously had a knack for just running up and down because these players were best for pressing the suit instead of pressing. Like these players, they can drop back, but they just want to be on the go. Like they cannot. They're the type of persons if they were like on an airplane and they were like going from America to England, which would be like 9.5 hours. They can't just sit down and stay silent. They have to move up and down. So I would loosely compare that to Alexis Sanchez. So Alexis Sanchez, it took him a while to. No, Alexis Sanchez wasn't getting the numbers on the paper, but there were actually some games he was actually playing pretty decent. Um, not to get pedantic or specific, but I just want to give because Alexis Sanchez has left, and I want to do this podcast this late at night before I get my rest. But Alexis Sanchez was not. No, this is the prob. This is where people had issues with Mourinho and Alexis Sanchez. I just mentioned that Alexis Sanchez is not a player that would stretch the wings. Like, for example, Marcus Rashford stretches the wings. Whenever he's wide, he stretches the wings with his pace. When he has space, he uses his pace to exploit that space behind defenders. But even when there's space behind the defenders, Alexis Sanchez say, nah, bro, F you. I'm going to beat you and then cross the ball into the box. That is Alexis Sanchez, as I mentioned earlier. That's his main MO. That is his main claim to fame. So that's the problem we had with Alexis Sanchez because he was so predictable in that manner. I mean, in terms of ball control, Alexis Sanchez was like second to none. But in terms of like decision making, Alexis Sanchez was wishy washy. Because there were times he was supposed to pass the ball, but he tried to beat the player. Or when he was trying to beat the player, he was supposed to pass the ball. So Alexis Sanchez got his priorities mixed up in that manner. But I mean, personally, this is where Alexis Sanchez now, in terms of his best position, because I was watching the video I'm not going to put in it because I don't work for the channel, but I was watching Mark Goldbridge's channel. Most of you guys supposed to know it already. The United Stand, and he was interviewing DT from AFTV, that is Arsenal Fan TV. And I think he asked DT what's Alexis Sanchez's best position. Now, a lot of persons who watch Alexis Sanchez ever since he's been at River Plate, which was, I believe, his first professional club, he played as a right winger, or if not a left winger. Of course, he can play along, he's very dynamic and integrated in the style of plays or positions, but his main input was on the wing position. Now, as it relates to age, as especially at Arsenal, Alexis Sanchez has had his best season as a centre forward for Arsenal. So even though he had Giroud up top, Alexis Sanchez would play on the wing, at least on paper. But in terms of if you watch a game, Alexis Sanchez is playing as a second string striker to Olivier Giroud. Like for example, if Olivier Giroud is not playing, Alexis Sanchez is the main man up top. And even if Alexis Sanchez is playing on the wing, he's going to find himself in the box. As Alexis Sanchez can shoot, to a degree he can pass, and he's very unpredictable when it comes on to beating players. So we had a player in our hands, but again we had players that were of a forward position like Romelu Lukaku, Anton Martial, Zlatan Ibrahimovic until he left in March of 2018, Marcus Rashford, and I'm missing one player. I know I'm missing one player. And Alexis Sanchez. So basically, five players that are mainly centre forward positions. Now Alexis Sanchez can play wing, but that's not what we need him for. That's what we're paying him a half a mil per week for. This guy needs to get goals each and every game. Like we need to treat this guy essentially like he's a Messi type of player. Based on the money we're giving him per week, that's what he needs to be like. So Alexis Sanchez had like had bulgars, had baggages on his back, because Alexis Sanchez is short, but he had a lot of baggages that he needed to carry for this team. Now his best game was probably against Man City at the Etihad Stadium. That if Man City won that game, they would be crowned champions in the Premier League. And due to Alexis Sanchez, Paul Pogba, and Ander Herrera's performance, I would say that was probably Alexis Sanchez's best. Excuse my English. Is probably his best game to date for Manchester United. Good cross to Chris Smalling to win the game against Man City, and he was very unpredictable. Like beating players, springing passes, distributing passes, spraying passes, I guess you could say. So Alexis Sanchez did not play in the position he should have played. He should have played a bare minimum behind the number 9 as a centre forward, if not as a number 10. That's where Alexis Sanchez should have played. That's where Alexis Sanchez should have played. Wide position is not for him anymore. Alexis Sanchez's legs is finished as a winger. Alexis Sanchez is not known for pace, at least when he was becoming older and older. He was known for stamina, his technical ability, and the ability of scoring. That's Alexis Sanchez. Now, a lot of persons were very skeptical of the sign of Alexis Sanchez at Manchester United, especially after probably the first month and a half after he came to United, because his performances were not showing the old Alexis Sanchez at Arsenal, and people were getting worried. Because like I said, this guy was getting $500,000 per week. Think about that, $500,000 per week. This is a player in his prime that needs to be firing for Manchester United. And for some reason, well, based on his interview with Manchester United, he said he wanted to win the Champions League and to win trophies for Manchester United. Or with Manchester United, I should say. But if you're judging his performances on the pitch, you would say you want to win trophies, but that's not what you're trying to show on the pitch. You're trying to display this lethargic, lazy, lackadaisical performance on the pitch. That's not the performance of a champion. You want to win the Champions League? Perform like a champion, goddammit. So he was not performing as he should. Because if there was one issue I have with Manchester United, they're overpaying players. Yes, the riches look good, the brand look good, playing for Manchester United, what I mean, just you're getting money in multitude and players showing gratitude to the brand of Manchester United. So it's a good thing. But this is the problem, dude. If you're a very good player and you want a lot of money per week, go to Manchester United. Manchester United will give you a lot of dollars per week. And that's one of the problems I have with Manchester United. They dish out a lot of, like they're basically tricking out of players. Tricking is a street term for pimping, but I digress. Like they're giving out of money for this particular player. When in reality, if the player was linked to a proper football club, like for example Real Madrid, my man wouldn't be even seeing half a million per week. You at best you would probably get in 200 per week, not 500 per week, 500,000 per week. That's like unheard of. So I believe if Alexis Sanchez wages was cut down at least to 200, I think he would perform better. Because my thing is this: if you're a player like in Alexis Sanchez boots, which is probably small because he's like 5'7", and his footwear is like 5.5. You know what I'm saying? But just imagine that your footwear is like 5.5, right? And you're in Alexis Sanchez boots, and a club is paying you $500,000 per week. I'm gonna ask you all this: what is your motivation to play well each and every, you can play a very good game now and then, but my question to you is this: what's your motivation to play very well for most of the games? You're getting 500K per week, you're getting suited and booted in terms of paper, in terms of currency, which is the necessity of living. What's your motivation to play like a top player in most of the games if you're getting that type of paper and that type of money per week? Think about it. What's your driven motivation to play very good in the for Manchester United most of the games? Now, if you have a knack for football, then probably you wouldn't care. But this is one of the issues with a lot of South American footballers. They go to a top club after showing world class performances at their previous club, but once they reach the pinnacle of success, like they're getting a lot of money, their pinnacle, although their pinnacle, it's kind of a dichotomy. Like the pinnacle of success and the pinnacle of performances, I look like one of those Egyptian kind of symbols, like on the mummy or something. Um, as their success grows, their performances start to wane. It's kind of a dichotomy. As the success increase and ascend, the performances descend and precipitate, like it decreases, it decays. And if you look at Ronaldinho, if you look at Adriano, if you look at, I wouldn't say Kaká, because Kaká was one of them good Samaritans that really behaved himself. He was a nice guy. Like Ronaldo. Ronaldo probably he lost his motivation because he got fat, which was, as some could claim, he had a thyroid problem, which is, let's not get into that. But out of South American players like Robinho, when players get some acknowledgement in the football hierarchy, they're saying, okay, I've reached it. It was very good to be a top player. My performances will just, just slowly but surely go down. I'll put in a top performances here and there, but I must slow down. I must slow down. I'm getting paper per week. Someone just slow down on the performances. And that's why most South American players that used to be top players, they start crashing and burning. So as it relates to Alexis Sanchez time at Manchester United. No, this is where a lot of persons said, okay, Alexis Sanchez is we probably sign Alexis Sanchez at a bad time. It was coming to the end of the season. Alexis Sanchez scored a few goals. I think it was two. One in the FA Cup semi-finals against Tottenham. It was from across from Paul Pogba after Muslin Musa Dembele of Tottenham at the time at least. He crossed the ball and Alexis Sanchez scored it. But Alexis Sanchez's performance was not up to par as when he was at Arsenal. Like this was a different Alexis Sanchez. And a lot of persons were catching up on it because the same thing with Angel Di Maria and Memphis Depay. People were with their fingers crossed, double cross, were saying we've seen what happened with not Alexis Sanchez, Angel Di Maria when he was a number seven for Manchester United. I hope this will not be the same fate of Alexis Sanchez at Manchester United. I'm all for religion, I'm a Christian. A lot of persons were probably praying to their gods or gods, whatever, and saying Alexis Sanchez should not go down that road. But the reality is that I believe Alexis Sanchez started his retirement at Manchester United. I really believe he started his retirement at Manchester United. Because again, if you're getting that kind of pension paper per week from Manchester United, 500,000, mind you, what's the motivation to play good football per week? Hmm? What's the motivation? As it relates to his second season, Alexis Sanchez was suffering a few injuries. And few injuries, whether he wanted to play or not. But he did probably said, hey, I'm injured, so, play someone else like Marcus Rashford or Anthony Martial. I'm injured. Um, so he won. Alexis Sanchez, people are saying, okay, this is when Alexis Sanchez will get his full season at Manchester United. So I want to see what he's really made of. And people are saying, okay, Alexis Sanchez needs to play as a number 10 behind Lukaku. Not wide, because he's not as effective wide as he was back in his younger years. When he had the pace, when he had a little bit of physicality. Because right now he's very predictable when he was wide. And people are saying we don't want that wide. We want him to play as a number 10. That's that's where he should be playing. You see? But as weeks start to go, the performances of Alexis Sanchez was just not the performance we were expecting. We were in anticipation and in participation to see of Alexis Sanchez at Manchester United. Because basically, the reality is that his best days as a top player, that chapter was closed when he was at Arsenal. Ever since he closed the door, he came through the door at Arsenal, that was when Alexis Sanchez put down his pen on the table on the desk and said, I have finished my chapter as a top player, not only at Arsenal, but as a top player, period. So whatever club I play for after Arsenal, I will not replicate and duplicate the form I displayed at Arsenal. That chapter is closed. I'm 29. My form is on the sideline. No, it's not on the sideline, but it's on the sideline because you could have displayed it here and there. But my form is on the line. I have like 4 years left in football, if not five, if I keep myself in shape. I need to settle down. I have a lot of money for Manchester United. This could probably be my pimp for a couple of years. Then I move to a different club. Then I'll get a different payday at a different club. So that is Alexis Sanchez main go to. Now Alexis Sanchez, this is where I'm going to close because I don't want this to be a long eulogy, but Alexis Sanchez's time at Manchester United is now in terms of ranking, I was talking about worst signings last in my last podcast. In terms of ranking, Alexis Sanchez, no, we have had a few worse signings, whether it's most likely under Alex Ferguson, and even the great Alex Ferguson makes mistakes, like signing Berbatong, Bebe, Jemba. You could probably say he referred David Moyes to be signed as Manchester United manager. So you could probably say that was one of the worst signings for Manchester United, at least in football, but not as a player. But as related to players specifically, yeah, Alexis Sanchez is the worst, hands down, the worst signing Manchester United has have ever signed. Like he's the worst player Manchester United has ever signed. Worst player. We think of Radamel Falcao. We think of Angel Di Maria. We think of Memphis Depay. We think of Bastian Schweinsteiger. We think of Morgan Schneiderlin. We think of Marwan Fellaini. We think of Jemba. We think of Michael Owen wasn't really that bad, so let me just retract that. We think of Diego Forlan wasn't that bad. We think of bad players that weren't really bad players in name, but when they performed for Manchester United, they were bad players. Alexis Sanchez wear the crown of being the worst signing for Manchester United in their history. Period. This guy has less than 5 goals for Manchester United in all competition. This guy has less than 10 assists for Manchester United in all competition. This guy got money from Manchester United per week up until 2 days ago when Inter Milan signed him permanently. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knew that Alexis Sanchez was not the player he wanted in his style of play. Although some United fans were saying, you know what, Alexis Sanchez deserves a third chance. I mean, the third strike, reveals as a striker, right? So let's just give him a third chance and see what he's really made of. Alexis always like this, no, bro. I'm gonna loan him out to Inter Milan to see if he's going to replicate that form he had at Arsenal, and if he does replicate somewhat of that form, maybe I'll allow him to stick around at least for a couple of years. And even at Inter Milan, Alexis Sanchez was putting displaying performances, but this was a past with Alexis Sanchez. This wasn't the elastic and electrifying Alexis Sanchez of Barcelona, Udinese, and at Arsenal. This was a different Alexis Sanchez. This was pre Alexis Sanchez. Oh, hold on. Pre Post Manchester United Alexis Sanchez. I should say post Arsenal Alexis Sanchez was the worst Alexis Sanchez. Like I believe his enthusiasm for the game decreased because we didn't even see Alexis Sanchez run that much with his two dogs as he did at Arsenal. And this was like the persons he would train with, although they were his dogs. We didn't see that much at Manchester United and even at Inter Milan. So as I close this video podcast, I want you guys to understand that Alexis Sanchez time at Manchester United, not saying that it was a bad signing, not in name, definitely not in name. It wasn't a bad signing in name, but the timing of the signing was way off. The reason why Manchester United signed Alexis Sanchez was because Alexis Sanchez was available. And they knew if Alexis Sanchez was available and they allowed that signing to slip, they knew that Manchester City or another top club in the Premier League probably was going to snatch up Alexis Sanchez. That's the reason why Manchester United signed Alexis Sanchez. It was known as a panic signing. A panic signing. There was no there was no depth of logic to the sign. They just wanted to sign because he's a name brand player. He's going to allow a lot of sales into the club and dish out money and cash in money and all that. And all that. In terms of payrolls, I mean, yeah. But Alexis Sanchez 2 days ago signed a permanent contract for Inter Milan. And Alexis Sanchez, no, I don't know the psychology of Alexis Sanchez, but I know deep down in in that small head of his, in a puto head of his, he's saying, my time at Manchester United was a nightmare. Same thing with Angel Di Maria. My time, definitely with Angel Di Maria. My time at Manchester United was a nightmare. It didn't go as I wanted it to. I believe Alexis Sanchez signed for Manchester United not because of the fact that he loves football, maybe he does, but it's more so the fact that Manchester United lavished his lifestyle with a lot of money per week. And that decreased his motivation to play at a top tier level per week. People say money makes the world go round. People say money makes you more happy. People say money is the driving force to financial freedom, which is true. But I'm gonna say to you guys like this: if you're working at a company and the company was paying you and I go say a half a million per week because that's just unrealistic. Let's just say probably a quarter. Let's say yeah per week. Let's go with two per week. 250 per week, which is like half a quarter of a million. 250 250K per week. And all you needed to do was move a few boxes. Or if you work in a carport, we're like, if we're just about to do that, or probably some harder like move a few boxes and move a few blocks. What's your motivation to even go to work? If not, what's your motivation to like do it in the time your boss told you to do it? You say, yeah, I'm gonna do that later on. Yeah. I have it all covered. You get what I'm trying to say? So money kills motivation if you're getting that type of money just upfront. Now, if you have to work for it, then yeah, that's a different animal. But Alexis Sanchez, time at Manchester United, is the worst player, the worst I've seen from any player ever since I've started watching football. Now, I've seen the few horror shows like Di Maria, Falcao, Memphis Depay, You know what I mean? Boston Schweinsteiger was coming to the end of his career, so I would have to spare him a little bit. But yeah, I've seen the horror stories at Manchester United, bro. But no player tops this signing that happens to be the worst player in Manchester United history as Alexis Sanchez. None. The sign of Alexis Sanchez makes Marouane Fellaini look like a decent signing for Manchester United. If you want to look at it from that perspective. So I hope you guys enjoy that long 40-minute eulogy of Manchester United's latest Deadwood being released on Manchester United that happens to be Alexis Sanchez. Like and subscribe to the channel. I want to hear what you guys have to say based on my commentary and podcast. If you agree, disagree to a certain degree, just leave your comments in the comment section. And I'll hold you guys in the next video podcast. Peace.